So I want to go fishing tomorrow, but the problem is the last time I went fishing and the last time I pushed my troller motor button, this happened. So typically, if you're familiar with trolling motors, this should not have any twist to it. It should be flat on top of this deck. And these bolts right here should not be showing. And I believe this is the only issue I'm having. We'll see. It could be worse. Let's hope not. And then also, if you see right here, the way these work is this one's a little bit nicer. This rubber sleeve here goes inside of the boat hull. But what has happened over here is, as you can see, not so much of that plastic tube exists anymore. And also, that hole in which the nut is supposed to be on the other side of has gotten a little bit too big and has decided to come through. Okay, we are about 3.5 seconds later after I stopped the camera, and we've already encountered our first problem. This, I believe, is the socket we need. But if you look in here, there's the bolt. The socket doesn't even fit in there. So how in the world are you supposed to get, I mean, this is not a thick socket. How is that supposed to go in there to tighten or loosen? I'm not really sure yet. All right, here is our replacement kit, and this makes more sense. These have a Phillips head on top. So now I'm just scratching my head a little bit more now. So I think a pair of vice grips and whatever size nut that is on the bottom is going to be our solution. Okay, I think I have found the right tools. I'm going to try to just grip onto here, see if that'll hold it. I doubt it. And have you ever just gone to work in your garage and you realize that nothing is in the place that you want it to be? Because every time you go out to your toolbox, you say, hey, this toolbox is a freaking mess and I need to clean it up. But I don't have any time right now, so maybe next time. And so you do that about 12 times, and then all of a sudden, your 1 or 2 tools that you threw on top of your toolbox over the last few weeks just becomes like your entire toolbox, and then you can't find anything. That's about where I'm at right now. All right, I need a little bit more squeeze on there. I really hope that I don't have to cut this off because it's, on fiberglass, and fiberglass has a tendency to be a slight bit flammable. I think it's either 12 or I've just already stripped it. Yeah, I think I've already stripped it. Even if I could just break this bolt off. Ooh, did I? I don't know, did something. Yep, look. I broke it off, which will be perfectly fine because we've already got new hardware to replace it. Ooh, that's hot. Okay, here's my predicament now. Is the 2 bolts on this side, the side that was not twisted, they're still in there and they should be mostly tight. Do I replace all 4 of them right now and go through that trouble? Or do I just replace the 2 and get it over with? I really just want to do 2 of them, but I'm thinking maybe it's probably a little bit slightly smarter to do all 4 while I'm doing it now. So I guess that's what we're gonna do. It looks like it's gonna be a good call to go ahead and replace these because this screw, as I'm unscrewing it, is just wobbling like it's already bent. So chances are this probably would not have lasted too much longer. I'm wondering though if this is actually loosening it or if I need to get underneath there and hold that nut. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get that one out. All right, I'm gonna have to open up this plate here for my switch panel so that I can reach up underneath the mounts and hold these bolts and get an electric screwdriver because that would be a lot faster. Don't fall anywhere. Just stay here. I'm just gonna sit down. That's all I need is to break more stuff, right? Once again, I'm not really sure where all my tools are, so I got the 18 volt instead of the 12 volt, which I would really rather have the 12 volt, but I'm not seeing it. Honestly, it might be my truck. There's no telling. Now at this point, it's ideal that if you had a small child or maybe a person with just childlike arms and hands to reach their arms up in here and to help you. I'm getting a really musty smell. It might be the fact that it's like a 28-year-old boat. It also might be the fact that there's animals living in here and we're really just not going to know until we get bit or, we don't. May or may not grab a flashlight real quick. How much do you love me?
Why?
So I may or may not need some really small arms to reach up in here. And also to like dangle this over on that so I can unscrew it.
Is something gonna like bite me?
That's a possibility.
I'm not okay with that. That's not reassuring. Is there like a mouse or something in there?
I mean, there's definitely a smell of something. Or maybe it's just, like a 28-year-old boat. Being
Not
a little musty.
convincing me.
It's one or the other. I can guarantee that. I'll figure it out.
No, I'll help you.
I don't even, that one's actually pretty close. And it probably is going to be easier for you to climb in the boat.
I figured.
All right, so while you're doing this, up underneath here is a lot of unfinished, like not shiny fiberglass. So when you're poking around, be very slow to like touch and feel stuff.
So I'm
Because
gonna be itchy is what you're telling me?
maybe not.
So I might get bit and I'm gonna be itchy.
Maybe. These are all possibilities. I'm not going to rule them out. My hand's underneath here and I haven't gotten bits. Ah!
I hate you.
You all right?
Something just landed on me, a bug or something.
There's a horsefly flying right here.
Oh.
Man. But my forearms are just slightly too big to reach under there.
Likely story.
So I would appreciate it.
Should have came out here, tricked me.
And I would probably reach under, like palm up, and just feel around. So
Feel around, but don't feel around because you don't want to get itchy.
to figure out what one feels like, there's one right here that you can grab pretty easily.
Okay.
You feel the nut? All right, so now follow this all the way up here. There's one right here.
But I need it with this, right?
Yeah, I would just feel for it for your hand first. With
I'm
your
like
hand
so
first.
nervous. If something bites me.
I don't think you'll be bit. I think you'll be probably okay. I give you like a 70% chance of success.
This is not reassuring. I'm like really nervous.
Just go for it.
Sean! Do you want me to do this?
Do you want to like spray some bug spray in there first?
Where is it at? Where am I going?
It's right here.
My arm is not long. I think I'm like reaching to like right here.
Damn. What are the chances of you reaching with a wrench?
Yeah, that's
It's
possible.
11.
I need this side.
The other one. Your guess is as good as mine. What you could do is take your phone and stick it in there with the light on. Make sure there's no critters in there. Or don't, because then you won't know.
My phone's inside.
You see anything?
A nut and a bunch of hair.
You see a knot all the way up there.
Oh, I see the one like right here.
There's no critters in there, right?
I can see.
You realize what this is going to do if you're successful at this, right?
What?
You will become my little helper. Ling is just not like quite there yet to be able to be of help. So, but your arms are about the same size. So
Whatever. My arms are bigger than his. That arm can't.
I wonder if I could just impact it off there.
The problem is I don't know where it is, so like
It's right there.
I don't know. Like, am I on it right now? I'm on something.
It sounds metallic.
Try that. No. I feel
Oh,
Oh, yep.
that it? I wonder if you're on it or if you're
Feel it. I lost it. I'm not holding it, because that's what you need to be doing.
Maybe use the other end, the closed end.
You sure it's the right size?
You got the 11, right?
No, I can't get it on there good. Like, I'm on the bottom of it, but It doesn't feel like it fits.
I wonder if I can push that.
As soon as you start moving, it comes off. It doesn't feel like this is the right size. Go ahead. I lost it.
Something fell off. I heard a nut drop.
Okay, is it supposed to drop? Are the nuts supposed to drop?
Yeah.
Okay. Did I do it?
I don't know. Maybe I didn't need somebody holding it.
I'm holding it. I just keep losing it.
That's it. I can feel it.
I don't know. Just have to figure out how to get it in the hole.
Yeah, that's a tough one. You want me to try?
No. I'm here and I'm dedicated now. I don't think this is the right size. It feels...
That's not the 11. I said the 11.
I thought that's what I grabbed.
Oh, jeez.
I had this one in my hand the first time.
I know. Ready?
It kind of feels like there's no nut on it.
It may have already come off. Maybe we're just going to get the other one off.
Yeah, because I don't feel anything. Like, I can feel the, what's the other part called? The screw?
The
bolt?
Yeah.
I can feel that, and then it feels like I'm just hitting this.
Yeah.
Like I'm not hitting anything else.
Alright, we'll try to take the other one. I'll see what comes out.
Where's it at? This one? Oh, I was effed up for you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I'm gonna bruise. Bruise like a peach.
So I've already got one of the rubber mushroom thingies in there. Just gotta get the other one in. And I'm hoping that once we tighten these up that I don't have to worry about how big the holes in the fiberglass are, because I'll be honest with you, they're a little big and it seems like it might be a slight problem. You just slide those in there, line up your screws on the inside. I think that's, oh, that ain't good. See how tight I can get this with just a screwdriver. I'm not going to use the impact because I don't want to blow that bushing out. There's still quite a bit there to bite into. I'm going to go about as tight as I can get with my hand. I'm not going to go any tighter with the actual impact because that might ruin it. Seems to be working. I think probably should have got the other screw lined up first before I did that. All right, it's down in there. Catch some threads. Making sure too that the trolling motor is squishing that grommet as much as I can so that I can get a good bite on the fiberglass hole. And that would be because I grabbed the wrong size screw. Got it. Okay, so you see what I mean? This screw is much longer. That's the one I want to use. The front has these little washers, I guess is what you would call them, or what they kind of look like. So you have to use the longer ones in the front. I believe I used the long one in the back on that side, but I'll have to remember that if I need to replace the other side, or if I can even get the other side out. All right, this one feels like it's tightening. Once again, I'm just going to get it as tight as I can with my hand and call it good. That's good. I don't think I feel any separation there. Now that I got that second one in, I'm going to go ahead and try to snug the back one up a little bit more. I imagine there is some kind of rough Torx back on these two, so maybe that's some of the instructions or something that I can look at. I think I'm going to get it about that tight. All right, so now I just got to button all this up. I am going to save all this hardware, including the big plastic washers that I took out, and I'm going to store this in my boat. That way, if I need to use it while I'm out on the water, maybe I can. So like I said, spare parts are going in dry storage, which for me is under here, which I've already got some spare parts, spare props. I made these things, they're kind of cool. Maybe I'll link these in the below for those of you who have 3D printers, but what I did was I figured out what size battery terminal nuts I had. I 3D printed a handful of these and threw them in the boat. That way, when I need to get in here and remove a wire nut or a nut off of one of these terminals, I just put that on there and loosen it and tighten it. Like I said, I've got a handful of those thrown in the boat. That way, if I ever need one, I've got one. And the good thing about those two is they're plastic, but they're strong enough plastic that they can get it tight enough, and it's not going to over torque it. There's no way you can physically tighten it so hard that you break like a lug off or something. So it's kind of dummy proof as well, because the plastic will break before it over tightens. The only downside of that is that if for some reason you have a really corroded one, then you might not be able to get it off without breaking the tool. So just don't over tighten in the first place, and make sure that they're not getting corroded over time. Now I should be able to bolt this panel back down, get everything cleaned up, and then we should be ready to go in the morning to the river. Definitely a big shout out to my amazing, beautiful, talented wife for coming out and helping me. You know, it's just really awesome when my wife comes out and hangs out with me in the garage. Just to have somebody to hang out with in the garage, that is really amazing. So thank you. I love you. This is why I wish I had my 12 volt, because this 18 volt, even just trying to lightly tap the trigger, it sometimes over torques. Really what this is good for is like deck screws or like structural screws where you really need to ugga-dugga. Fine little screws, Phillips heads like these, you really don't need all that. So I really like that 12 volt stuff. Not as powerful, but sometimes you don't need all that power. While I'm thinking about it as well, I need to get a couple things out of this box. Geez, my whole garage is just a freaking mess. A little warm out here too. I really wish that I had started recording a few months ago, but you know, hindsight's 2020. I really just wanted to get out and use my boat. So I've been doing, really, this has been like a 3-year project now. And you guys saw a video, if you go back in my old archive videos, you guys saw the video shortly after I bought this boat. And what was that, like 5-6 years ago? And I'm just now finally in a position where it's okay enough to run. Like I showed you all earlier, the battery compartment in here is looking really good. I printed some 3D trays for those batteries. If you guys are interested in those profiles, let me know. These are Ionic 50 milliamp or 50 amp hour lithium ion batteries. They also have a little Bluetooth connector in each one of them, so I can actually see on my phone how much charge those have. I put in over there, you can see new relays. I've got 3 batteries. I've got one set up, or those 2 over there are set up in a 1224 for the trolling motor, obviously. The third one there is for accessories, so things like this big HDS12, which I'll talk about in a second. And then I also have my charging battery, my cranking battery on here, which is just a big group 28 or 29, I believe. Deep cycle cranking starting battery. But I got all that wired up, and then, you know, I had some other issues. Like, this motor is not in perfect condition. I don't know if you can tell right now, but the lower cowling bolts on the 125 Mercury, they're notorious for getting stripped out. I believe they were epoxied in the holes from the factory, and all the oil and gas that spills over them, just because it's a 2-stroke and that's what they do, over time it starts to let those loose, and that's what happened on this. So I went through the entire motor though, cleaned out all the carburetors, got them all ready to go. So it's in really good running condition, which I'm happy with. But I went to go use it last year actually, and this steering mechanism, if you guys are familiar with that, you'll know that if they sit unlubricated for a long period of time, they don't like to turn anymore. So then look, you can see it's not going anywhere, but it's not the safest either, probably. But anyway, the steering mechanism gets locked up, and then you can't turn the steering box. Everything gets locked up. So basically what I had to do was cherry pick the motor off, get all that stuff cleaned out. I had a lot of surface rust and crap built up over years, and put it back together, which was it was a task, and I think that's why I never finished it last year, but I buttoned it up this year. I got, you know, this fiberglass panel. Actually, the steering wheel was really wobbly. It's a little wobbly now, but it's actually pretty strong. I had to go in and, geez, if you can even see this. If you can see underneath here, I have this metal bar going across, and I have a couple more in there. You know, those metal bars under there are to just stabilize the steering mechanism and just to keep me from like ripping my steering wheel off while I'm going down the road, or going down the water like 30, 40 mile an hour. That would be bad. But then I just went through everything, lubed up the steering stem, which was a nightmare, got that all put back together. So now we have very smooth steering. Reprimed the trim pump because the trim motor it's got a slight leak in it. So we got to keep an eye on that level. But then I went through here and I got all these switches working, which it was kind of a pain. You know, this is a 1996, so it's almost 20 or 2024, almost 25, I guess. But you know, it's just going through it and figuring it out. But one of the cool things I actually got, I am a collector of trash, and whenever somebody has something that no longer works, it usually ends up at my house. I am super grateful for this. I don't think this is necessary, but my stepdad had an HDS 12, this one right here, and it was having some issues where it would do funny things with the screen and shut off on him. I don't know if it still has that problem. I haven't fully tested it. He was saying in really hot days out in the sun, after a few, maybe an hour or two, it was doing some weird stuff. But anyway, I wiped it. I did software updates. I reverted it, did another software update, all the things that people on the internet tell you to do. And I have not been able to duplicate his problem, but I also have not been out in really high heat yet. So tomorrow will be a good indication of that. But this is an HDS 12. It's got cool things like side scan and all that other nonsense that I don't know how to use anyway, so I don't really think it benefits me there. The main reason I really wanted something like this, and I was going to upgrade eventually, but it fits that need, is I really wanted maps so that I can see channel markers and depth while I'm going up and down the Rappahannock River. And I understand these are not super accurate, but it does exactly what I want it to do. It gives me a good idea of where the channel is. I have not fished the Rappahannock River very much, and in fact, I've avoided it in the past because I didn't have something like this, but now I do. And until it just totally craps out on me, I'm gonna keep using it. Also, if you've ever got something this gigantic, and even like some of the 7-inch and 9 inches, they're still really big, and it's kind of hard to keep them mounted. They sell what's called a ram mount. That's not what this is, but this is like I don't know who makes it, to be honest with you. But I've got it on Amazon, and I'll link the link down below. It was, I want to say where the official ram mounts were like $250, $300. This was maybe like $50 or $60. So it's much more obtainable, and I haven't had any issues with it. At the end of the day, this fish finder could probably, and most likely it won't last very long. So I would have hated to spend $300 on something that was not necessary. And so you all have seen this before if you've seen my older videos, but this is the same fish finder I had on there. It's a Garmin SV. It's got side view on it, which once again, I don't know how to use, but this has got a really clear picture. And when I bought it, it was actually a really affordable unit, but they are a really good unit. And this one still works really well. I've not had any issues with it. I would not buy it again if I needed something like I've got now, which has navigational charts on it, because this does not. It gives you waypoints, so it basically just draws lines. So, if you wanted to leave breadcrumbs to figure out how to get back to where you came from, it's perfect for that. But as far as having navigational charts on it, it does not do that. So keep that in mind if you're gonna go for it. Do your research, figure out what you need. Anyway, I'm gonna stop rambling on because I don't want this video to be extremely long, but you guys give me some feedback. What do you think about this boat? I have not talked a lot about it up until now, so maybe this kind of gives you an update, but I'm also just trying to get some content out so that I can do some content, because I really don't have the time, the money, or the space to start like a full-blown project. I would love to get a car and work on it with my son and do some restoration type stuff, but that's just not really feasible at the moment, but maybe that's what we'll get into in the future. I've had a lot of comments about, hey, you never finished the 16-foot John boat, the bass tracker that I've worked on in the past. The framing is probably still good, but the decking, the carpet, everything about that boat needs to be gone through again. It needs to be completely rebuilt. I'm gonna say right now that is also not going to be in the near future. I would love to learn how to weld and then weld a sheet metal deck and all the compartments and everything on it. But I'm just not, I don't have the time, the money, The knowledge is something that I can figure out, I believe. You know, I've never tried it before, but I think I can figure out how to weld. That's one of my goals, is to figure out how to weld aluminum. I don't even know how to weld steel, really, or whatever. I don't know what are the correct terms for it. That is in the future, but it's probably, you know, I would say in my 5-year plan right now, if that. I would really love to get an old truck or an old car, and I would really love to get him involved in this kind of thing. He shows interest in it, but, you know, just like any other 7-year-old boy, he loses interest quickly. So I think I'm at a pivotal age with him that I want to get him turning wrenches and get him excited about building something with his hands. I think I was about his age when I started as well. And I started with like dirt bikes and stuff like that. So maybe that's another thing. I'd love to get him a dirt bike or a 4-wheeler too. That'd be cool. Lincoln, if you're watching this, don't get any ideas, or maybe do, let me know what you think too. All right, I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna turn this camera off and put the boat together so that I can go fishing in 6 hours. That's gonna be early. Thank you guys for watching. Once again, you know, I don't have to tell you, just having community around the things that you like to do is really cool. So I appreciate that. If you guys wouldn't mind, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. It's not something everybody thinks about, but really it helps me out with the YouTube side of things. With the algorithm, gets more people looking at my stuff. And if you really like this video, if you like to see this kind of content, make sure you go ahead and hit that thumbs up button as well. If you want to see more boat content, I don't think I'm going to do any fishing content. That was really tough. It's a lot of work to fish and enjoy fishing at the same time. I really just want to enjoy fishing. My son's actually fishing with me too, so that is going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. Did you have fun fishing today, Lincoln?